All right, it's time to get to the track. Our first track event is scheduled for this weekend, and we are so far behind on getting this thing back together. In fact, as you can see, the transmission's still out of it. And the whole plan for this week, really the rain, we showed rain in the forecast all week, like for the weekend. So we were expecting the event to be canceled. Now, as the day goes by, or the week goes by, it's Wednesday now. So we have the transmission out in a million pieces. The weekend is now starting to clear up a little bit. So now we're thinking there might be an event. So we're gonna try to bust our butt, get the transmission back together, and get it in the car. Maybe get it on the dyno before the weekend. I don't know, but we got a lot to do to try to get this thing together. Even if it rains this weekend, it's not a big deal. At least we got the car back together. But I'll probably set up the time lapse, show you slamming the transmission together, and then we got to get it in the car. And for those that have followed along with the drag car, at the end of last season, we chewed up a couple gears, and that ended up locking up the differential. So we took it apart. I sent this back for service. I do have a brand new one as a spare, but this one came back already before reassembly. So we had to, I think I filmed some of that. I was showing Clayton how to basically weld up the race to get the race out of the case, which he'll probably add that clip in here. Why are you going so slow?
I don't know. I gotta keep going? Obviously.
Yeah, go all the way around the race.
Can I go full chooch?
Yeah, go full chooch.
Okay.
But you're gonna have to go faster.
I gotta stand up.
Trying to show Clayton how to remove races with the TIG while not staring at the weld myself. That's not doing us much good. There we go. Probably a little faster. Are you full chooch?
Yeah.
Okay, the reason we're taking that out is we need to set the preload on the transmission. This measured out to 1 millimeter. That was the one that was in there, so we need to grab some more of these. And Clayton's gonna pick out one that is
Perfect.
perfect. So we've already taken out the old race. We've also assembled the transmission, checked for preload, put the proper spacer underneath the race, so it's now ready to all go back together. It's pretty much all cleaned up now. Gonna put some sealant on it and slam it together, and you guys will see that. Yeah, it'll be done in seconds for you guys. All right, I think the time lapse stopped. Battery died in it, but before I put the cover on, I don't think I ever showed, I put a sensor on here, a speed sensor, basically to get more data. This is on the input shaft, and it's picking up these grooves in the end of the spline here. I just used basically pieces from the stock transmission. These are very tight tolerance bolts into these holes, or into these like washers, focus. And I just used these and welded a piece of rod and welded the bracket on. That way when this comes on and off, because these are so tight tolerance in these little spacers here that are dished, as you can see at the bottom, there's no movement, so I don't need to reset this gap every time. It just stays stationary no matter if I take it on or off. So we're to the point, put the cover on and get it in the car. Alrighty, transmission's together. The clutch has been installed, some new clutch discs, and we're ready to put the transmission back in this. probably won't be running today, but at least it'll have a transmission again. So we got the transmission in. I have been stressing all week about getting this car. I felt like we were really rushed. We were waiting on gear sets. It's super busy. It's spring, and we are not prepared to get to the track right now. However, when the weather started turning around earlier in the week, I was like, we got to put a hustle on it, get the transmission back in the car, and get it back on the dyno. Not for anything, just make sure everything is good, that's all. Just sanity check, basically. So we got the transmission in last night. Generally, whoops, let me flip this around. We got the transmission in last night. Generally, from here, it's only going to take, I don't know, probably 20, 30 minutes to get the turbo downpipe and a couple lines connected and stuff. So, with that said, they canceled the event for this weekend. So, this was our first points race of the season. So, that's why I was like really adamant about trying to get the car there. We managed to compete in every event last year. We finished third in that class, in that series that we have locally. However, the goal was just to get there, at least trying to get some passes on it with the car the exact same way as it was last year, with obviously the transmission stuff fixed. However, now that the event's canceled, I have a huge weight lifted off my shoulder, because on top of trying to get the car ready, I wanted to do a little bit of stuff to the truck and a little bit of stuff to the trailer, just all in preparation for the season, and we haven't been able to get to that point yet. So now that all of that's out of the way and the event's canceled due to the weather this weekend, we're going to do some of the upgrades that we had planned to do. So this afternoon, I'm going to put in some more fittings. So these are dash 16 for anybody that's building cars. When you start getting up to this size fitting, expect to pay big bucks. So we got a handful of fittings and some AN fittings. So on the 16 valve cylinder head, again, this is a 1AT bottom end, the 06A block, 06X, or any of the family, that the 2 liter 1AT, all that stuff. But the cylinder head is a 16 valve cylinder head. And on the 16 valves, it has an outlet at the side of the head, like exactly like a 1AT would, but it also has one up underneath. You can see maybe with some zooming, if I can figure that out, in there. There's one in the front of the cylinder head. So I've tacked on a flange, or we made a flange to block it off last year. We used to run it, but I've tacked on a flange. Sorry, I've made a flange. We've now tacked on a fitting to that flange to run a second outlet from the cylinder head to the radiator. So basically we're just trying to get the coolant pressure down on it. It's factory like that. We always ran it with both lines, both outlets of the cylinder head in previous years. This past year, or last year, sorry, I decided to block off the front one, but I think it really needs it based on the design. And there's my phone, so I'm gonna stop talking right now. And we're back. So the goal is to get that stuff done today, get the lines figured out. I have to pull the radiator out, weld another fitting onto this, get the turbo and everything back in, and then hopefully get her on the dyno. Just to make sure everything is 100%. The other things that we do plan on changing, which I don't know if we're going to do before the first event that we get to, we do have some footage of it. I don't know if it's going to be in this video or not, but we're planning on swapping out the slipper. And with that, our whole, for those that have been following along, our whole 3D printing ideas. So this now is going to connect to our catch can, so we're not going to have this big long hose running to the back of the car anymore. We have this line is now going to connect to this, which has all been 3D printed. This is our vent now. So from the side, from the side, it just looks like a mirror delete, but as you can see, it's a breather, and when you look, you open the door. Oh, sorry, a little wobbly. This goes inside of this, and we have some foam sealant or foam seal in there. So when the door shuts, if I can capture that, when the door shuts, it sits right into that. So tell me how genius that is. Pretty genius. It was an idea I had in my head, and Clayton made it all come to life. So that was all Clayton. Thank you, Clayton. So we got that changed. The slippers, one other thing, and then really we're ready to rock. There's only just a couple of maintenance things, oil and stuff like that. But we're gonna get to finishing this up, do the lines, and maybe you guys will see some of this on the dyno again today. Somebody forgot to turn the gas on, and that's how you wreck stuff, right there. All right, not the prettiest adapter, flange, but you know, maybe we'll make something better down the road, but this should do the trick. So again, that's going up underneath there. So we got the radiator in already, the new flange welded onto it, or the new dash 16 bung onto it. And we're gonna get this mounted and run that one last line, and then we can put the turbo and stuff on. Did you film some of this?
I did, a little bit.
I don't know if we filmed. Oh, actually, hold on. Okay, Google, pause. Everybody's computers or phones or at home, it's just paused. Anybody that's using Google, that just happened for them. So obviously we got the transmission, we got it all back together. Clayton and I, well, Clayton, not I. We put the new vent. Show them now, Clayton, what it looks like. You got some people with the new setup? I filmed it earlier, but without the hose. So we wanted to test out, make sure that.
Let me show. Okay, that's enough.
So we wanted to make sure that that wasn't going to just blow apart, for one. We wanted to just shift through the gears. This isn't, I have a new gear set here, a new differential for this transmission. It isn't what's in the car now. We're using our old stuff. And the fourth selector and dogs are butchered to the point that I actually put them on the mill. I didn't film any of that. And tried to make them something again. And that was kind of the test to see if it would work. And it shifted fine once we remembered to turn everything off and on that we were supposed to. And we just did a quick 700 and something horsepower run. Clayton probably had some filming of the shifting, and that was, just to give you guys an idea, the first run you probably would have seen of shifting and the big bangs, that was probably 50% throttle and 7,000 RPM, and we're gonna rev it, or we do rev it to like 9,500 RPM. So, it's ready. The weather, unfortunately, it didn't rain yet, so we could have been running this weekend, but this gave us a bunch of time to do some coolant lines, which I showed in there, check a few things, make a few things better. So we're now ready to go to the track and run this thing. Hopefully we can get some good passes in it. Clayton, do you have anything to add?
Nothing. Robbie was here today too, help him.
Robbie's sick
Right.
and he
Robbie's-
feels like a garbage can.
Feels
Looks like a garbage can. He feels like he usually looks like a garbage can, but he feels like a garbage can right now. We're gonna have his car in here soon. Actually, it's a white A3 VR, so we got some VR turbo content. Swap that car to manual, and it's now time to push it for power. But enough of rambling. The car's ready. I don't know when we're gonna get the race, but it's gonna be soon. And if it's something close by, we're also. Or not also, if it's one of our local tracks, we're gonna bring the Mark 7R and run that too. So the next drag racing video you see is either of this car or the Blue R. Thanks for everybody watching. See you later. Bye.